Welcome back to NYSE TV Live, everyone. I'm Kristen Schuller here at the New York Stock Exchange. Well, as the Consumer Electronics Show gets underway in Las Vegas, it does inspire the innovation agenda for the year ahead. We'll be covering it throughout the week as the New York Stock Exchange does have a presence on the ground via our social media team. And of course, we're integrating comments and interviews into our show this week. So to talk more about innovation and particularly where the startup scene is, I do want to bring in my colleague Trinity Chavez with more. Hi, Trinity.
Hey, Kristen, that's right. We're going to be covering all of that and so much more on our show this week. And joining us now to break down all of the numbers and trends shaping the global venture landscape is Janae Teare. She is a senior data editor at Crunchbase. Janae, it's great to have you with us on the show this morning. So, let's just start by talking about this conversation. I do want to talk to you about AI specifically, with AI-related companies attracting nearly $100 billion and leading global venture funding. What specific subfields within AI are driving this surge in investment?
Yeah, well, I think what's interesting is if you look at the global report just came out today, it's looking at the whole of 2024 as well as the fourth quarter where there was a big boost. And what we saw, and I think that was significant that you've noted, is that a third of funding went into the AI sector in 2024. That was at 100 billion. It was much larger than what we saw in 2023 at around 50 billion. So you can see there's a lot of momentum around the sector. And, AI kind of covers so many different sectors. It's almost like there's a layer across tech. And so what you see is the infrastructure and data management companies were key in AI, the large language models, the foundation model companies. But then it also affects industries like healthcare and robotics and autonomous driving and cybersecurity and the military and defense, which has become a growing sector as well. So AI is a technology which is really spreading through everything. And for us, it's unprecedented to see one sector reach a third of all funding. Typically, the peak in 2021 was fintech. That was around a fifth of all funding. So this is certainly unprecedented, but makes sense given the drive around AI in 2024.
And billion-dollar funding rounds accounted for nearly 20% of total funding in 2024, largely fueled by AI. So what does this tell us about investor confidence in the sector and the scale of opportunities they see?
Yeah. Well, when I speak to investors, I've been running an AI series where I just speak to investors looking at the AI sector, and most of them are saying that 80% of their investments are focused on AI specifically. And so there is the sense that it is very competitive out there in the AI space. If you have any knowledge in the sector or you stand out in the sector, you're going to get a very competitive funding round. So certainly there does seem to be somewhat of a bubble and prices are driven up, but it means they're going to be very big outcomes in the sector and hence all of the market driving towards this.
And the U.S. captured about 58% of global funding in 2024, a significant increase over 2023. So what factors contributed to this growth and how does it position the U.S. in the global innovation landscape?
Yeah, well, the US, it's interesting. It's usually, in prior years, it's around 49 to 50% of funding goes into the US market. And this jumped in 24 to around 57%. And Silicon Valley and the San Francisco Bay Area led as well with around $90 billion, again, higher than in previous years. And so what we've seen is really this drive towards AI, which has positioned the US as the leading market in 2024, which has allowed the U.S. to gain a much bigger share of funding in 2024.
And according to your outlook, Q4 2024 is on track to be the strongest quarter in 2 years. So what were the key drivers behind this resurgence, and do you anticipate this momentum to carry on through 2025?
Yeah, well, there were some very large rounds which were raised in AI, and what we found over the downturn since Q3, Q2, or Q3 of 2022, the funding has fluctuated. When there's these very large billion-dollar rounds in a quarter, funding will go up that quarter. When the billion-dollar rounds pull back a bit, the funding the following quarter will go down. And so what we've seen is funding fluctuate, but really what drove that growth in Q4 was a very large round raised by Databricks, raised the biggest round of the year at 10 billion. XAI and OpenAI both also raised very large fundings in that quarter as well, north of 6 billion. So we've just had these huge rounds, but in a sense, even though there's a lot going into these very large companies. Broadly, what we've seen in 2024 is there is a pickup in 2024 over 2023, there is a sense that the venture markets are coming back. There is more confidence in the market. When I look at investors who are the most active, they've been more active in 2024 than 2023. You see a sharper pullback. So I think there is this sense that the markets are looking up. There is an expectation that the IPO markets might open a little bit more in 2024. Exits have been incredibly slow. So I think there is, 2024, I would say, was a stronger year. Even though it's up only 3%, it was 314 billion this year as opposed to around 304 billion. So that's up around 3%, but the mood around venture is very, very different.
Thank you so much for all of that key insights. I know we're going to have a lot to look out for come the rest of 2025. Thanks again. That's Teare, Senior Data Editor at Crunchbase.